Today's episode is sponsored by Black Falcon. I'm currently wearing one of their hoodies and I must say it feels lovely. They don't just do hoodies, they have a range of streetwear and casual wear items, tops, jogging bottoms, jackets, all sorts. Make sure you check them out at www.blackfalcon.co.uk or you can click the link in our description. Use code BALLTALK10 to get yourself 10% off at checkout.
This episode is sponsored by TornSports.com and I've got a lovely pair of sliders here, every footballer's dream. What else do they do, Lou?
They do grip socks, all heights. So,
nice.
You know, they've got the ankle ones. And they actually do, I don't know, you know, the footballers' trend these days is where they have the little cut in the back of their match day socks.
Yeah.
So they do them as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they do plenty of different socks and obviously sliders. So.
That's sick. Yeah, these sliders are very nice. If you want to grab yourself anything, head over to TornSports.com and get yourself something nice.
The United and Spurs game, it was 1-0 to Spurs. United lost, obviously.
Yep.
Mess versus mess, in my opinion.
It's horrible.
I mean, the game was, I just thought, especially from United's point of view, they're just like, it's so poor.
Awful.
Like the structure, the quality on the ball, and they were just like, all the players were just so inconsistent.
Yeah.
I remember watching part of the game and Man United had no bodies in midfield.
I was just about to say, have you seen the screenshot?
They just
happened like 4 times in the game. There is, and this is not an exaggeration, 20 metres between, maybe probably more, between defence and midfield.
Yeah.
There's like 6 Tottenham players in that gap. That doesn't happen in Sunday League.
But not even just the units, like not even just defence to midfield, even between Casemiro and Fernandes, who are meant to be, you're meant to be tight as a midfield partnership to not get played.
Experienced partnership as well.
Yeah, and yet Casemiro's on one side, Fernandes is on the other. I'm just thinking, like, this is, you get taught this at under 9s.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We don't have that in Sunday League. And the mental thing is, you don't have that big a gap in midfield in Sunday League. You just don't. For Tottenham to only beat them 1-0 when they had no midfield, that shows the level of that game.
That's what I mean. Like, they both just kept, it was end to end because the quality was poor, and they both just kept almost saying, right, you can have a go at scoring. We can have a go at scoring. We don't really care about.
Best to watch from a neutral.
Yeah, they're great.
Bare goal mouth action. Ricardo had to make so many saves.
He was quite good to be fair. We've got United in a couple of weeks. You know they'll turn up.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like with Ruben Amorim, I've been impressed with one thing, and that's been his press conferences. The way he speaks after the game, he's very honest and open.
I think that's kicked him in the teeth.
But yeah, he's very honest and open. And the only time I've seen, and he said, like, listen, I'm not going to change. He's come out and said that clearly. Yeah. The only time I've seen him implement his style well was probably the Liverpool away, where they just all decided to turn up for some reason. Yeah. But 20, however many games it is, 20 odd. I've not seen it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think he's now getting. I like him. He's now kind of getting to the point. You remember when Ange would play that high line, even though they had 9 men, and it was like, you're being stubborn with your system now. You need to change. It's kind of. I still think Amorim should stay, but it's kind of getting to that point of. Should you just change your system? Yeah, do you know what I mean? If you play a 3-back against Liverpool, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, I think you do have to be fluid in football, and I'm not sure. I know he's trying to, like, drill in his system, but this season you might just have to change it just to damage limitation. Do you know what I mean?
But this is where I think he's killed himself in press conferences personally, because he's almost put himself under pressure now not to adapt and change just because of the amount of times he's come out and said,
yeah, that is true.
Stick by this.
That is true.
As soon as he changes next game, the question will be,
hold on. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you win, then no one will ever question you. But there's no guarantee that just one change in shape or whatever will win. So I do rate a manager. Like, I personally think it's a good thing having a system, sticking by it, and
so do I.
Playing. Absolutely, you have to. Otherwise, what are you? Like, you just
within reason. Yeah.
But exactly within reason. I think it's a results business.
Yeah.
It's very difficult sometimes to implement a system if you haven't got your own players. He hasn't got his own players.
Yeah.
Come into a team where those are the players there. Sometimes you have to look at what you've got and say, okay, between now and the end of the season, I'm just going to get some results with this team.
Yeah.
He tried to implement a system. Perhaps it hasn't worked. Maybe it's time now to just get some results. Yeah. So that the end of the season isn't so embarrassing.
I think that's easier said than done, though.
Yeah, of course.
Because you've got to then flip-flop in between your system and then getting results, and then you want to, when do you go back to your system? Yeah. And it's like, when do you get the players? I just think it's really, it just shows it's not a manager problem. It's not always necessarily a player
we know
problem.
the players hate Man United.
It's just a full club problem.
It's a big club problem. Absolutely.
Every manager that's gone in there in the last 5-10 years, every player that's gone in there, they've all struggled and they've all done well with their previous clubs. It's not a player or manager thing.
No, it's deeper. The problem he needs, like, for long now, I haven't even questioned him because he's just come in. But the issue he's going to have if these results keep happening is you don't want to be the worst of all the managers that have, like, every manager struggled.
I mean, that takes some doing.
But he's on track for that. As much as Ten Hag wasn't doing great, they're lower now than he was when Ten Hag left. Ten Hag had 2 trophies under his belt. Like, as much as you know the seasons were terrible, he gets to walk away and said he had an FA Cup and a League Cup. You can't ignore that.
Yeah,
it's true. You know,
you actually can't ignore that. So you don't want to get in a position like none of the managers have done so far what Ruben Amorim is doing. Like, none of them have had a start this bad. I know the team right now, they've got loads of injuries. The excuses are there, but
it's probably also been the biggest switch in styles.
Yeah, which is going to take a while, isn't it? And there's whispers that a few of the players just don't buy into the system.
Really?
Yeah, so like you can imagine, like
inside man.
Imagine, I'm at the meetings. Like Bruno Fernandes. Do you know what I mean? He's quite a selfish player, I believe. So, excuse me, I can imagine him having a bit to say. But even it goes deeper. The club, they sacked like 200 of staff.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. Maybe just don't pay Xerxes 400k a week. Do you know what I mean? Rather than sack the 20k cleaner
who's been there 30 years.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the club itself is toxic, and I don't think he's a toxic manager at all.
Yeah.
But that means it'll take a while.
I also think what doesn't help on Bruno, you can't have a captain of a profile of a club that big that dips in and out of being a good captain.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, he can be a really good captain, and then he can also have throw tantrums and not run and sort of look lazy. And look like he's not putting in actual focus and effort on the ball. Like, sometimes it's just comes into him a lazy flick and he's just like hands up in the air.
I hear that. But I also think one of the biggest problems for United, personally, since Fergie's left is they're desperate to scapegoat someone all the time.
Yeah, I get that.
It's always been a thing of either this manager's the problem or this player's the problem. It was Pogba, it was Martial, it was Ronaldo,
it was Rashford
recently. It's going to switch to Bruno because he's probably the only high-profile player.
Yeah, I mean, he gets the most praise also out of their team. Probably.
Yes, and rightly so.
Because he's
but I can see it now becoming Xerxes. You're not going to scapegoat Xerxes. And as bad as they've been, we can't say it's their fault.
He's not great though. Let's be real.
Do you know what he looked like at the weekend?
They never scapegoat someone that no one has expectations.
Yeah.
They scapegoat who's meant to be the best player, like the players that just listed.
Yeah.
Ronaldo was a problem. It got worse. Rashford was the problem. We'll see what happens now. And
looks quite good at Villa.
I mean, he's looking good at Villa so far, and he's a good player. So I think they need to come away from this idea that this player's a problem, this player's a problem, this manager's a problem, and just realise that the club from top to bottom stinks, and they need to fix it, basically.
Yeah, they did go into about 2 years ago. I think they started to have them talks of like it's not a player or manager thing, it's a club thing.
Yeah,
and then it seems to have gone back into it's the manager and the player.
Yeah. So I don't know what to do. I've never seen a truer statement. Someone said Joshua Xerxes looks like one of the retired legends at Soccer Aid. Like, just walks around. The ball stays to his feet well, but he doesn't run. He doesn't do anything in front of goal.
He's quite immobile.
That is such an insult.
Yeah, it is.
I tell you what, I don't actually think helps United as well. Yeah. And what winds me up with all the people talking, like the pundits, is all they do is compare it to the Fergie era.
Oh, it's so boring.
Give it up.
If this was this club needs to be here.
When Liverpool weren't winning titles, I didn't hear them talking about the successful Liverpool era of the 70s and 80s. Like, it's gone now.
Bro, they get Ian right on the overlap and go, Fergie era, Ian?
Yeah. Well, imagine Arsenal fans were doing that every week saying, listen, we need to go back to the Wenger invincible season. They were doing this then, and look what we're doing now.
Yeah, bro,
like,
20 years ago, nice one.
Changed
20 years ago.
It's like people compare how Fergie treated players.
Yeah.
Like, if this player did this in Fergie's era, Fergie would have done this.
And that's the problem.
Fergie would be sacked by HR as well. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. It's just completely different. So, yes, they had probably the most successful era in football for sure. Had the most successful manager, but times have changed, the club has changed, and there's no link between this current club and that club at the time. So
you're not entitled to be that club because it was 15, 20 years ago.
Other than the name of this club currently, there's nothing linking those two clubs. It's like two different clubs completely.
Yeah.
So they need to start again.
Not even the staff now.
But like you say, they're all gone. Yeah. It doesn't help. It doesn't help, does it? If you have a good performance and they keep
it's just like every week, it's just bringing up. It's just boring. Like I know you're an ex-pro and you've got to give your expertise, but don't just keep going back to when you played 30 years ago.
Yeah, move on.
Yeah, move on.
Yeah,
we'll move on from Man United.
Yeah, let's do it.
No, we'll leave it there. Do you think? Last thing, actually, do you think either of them get relegated?
No. And I think if you were Tottenham or United now, you need to just say, if we finish 17th, we finish 17th. We go again next season because you're not going to get relegated. Realistically, you're shit. So just get on with it, and hopefully in the summer you can do something.
Wait. I don't think the managers can afford to do that though. I think if Ange finishes 17th, he gets sacked, no doubt.
Do you think?
Yeah. I can't finish 17th, bro.
I actually don't know.
Daniel Levy's sacking.
Yeah, 17th might be a bit.
A lot of managers.
But I think Ruben Amorim, like,
he could get away with it.
He should. I think he should because
and I also think he should.
Arteta, remember we spoke about it before.
Yeah.
He finished 8th, but
No, but like Arteta. No, but I'm talking during the season. He was like, everyone was on him for getting out. It was like the same thing. He's not switching from a system that he weren't really working. Just give him time and look what he's done now. So.
But the thing with Amorim, he didn't want to come.
No,
he wanted to wait till the end of the season. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And they were like, it's now or never.
This is probably exactly why. Like, he knew he needed time to implement his stuff. Like, I think unless he gets relegated, which would be
very good.
Anyone has to be sacked.
I love it.
And like, you have to be sacked if you do that.
Fair. Yeah.
But
they should get rid of all the players.
Anything else, you have to give him more time. Like, because what was the point? You just think, all right, you didn't bring him in this season.
Yeah, did you really expect anything this season?
Yeah. So even Ange, the same. Like when last year when they had all their players, they had an amazing start. He's a good manager.
That's why I think
you've got loads of injuries.
I don't think they'll finish lower.
17th. Yeah.
But if they do, then you'd have to. You can't fall. You can't fall off from the season they had last season to 17th.
No, that is true. But if either of them get relegated,
you can't do that and just keep it.
Oh, right, yeah.
If either of them get relegated, I'll do this podcast in my pants end of the season.
It would be a story for the ages.
Yeah, that would be so good.
Oh, I'd love it.
They probably wouldn't even win it.
No, they wouldn't.
With the way it's so toxic, no.
Like, imagine you get relegated again.
It'd be crazy. Old Trafford in the Championship.
They still don't get
crazy.
It might be against Ken soon. All right, we'll leave it there, and we'll be back next Wednesday at 6:30 p.m.